Hello everybody, welcome back to the Chambers YouTube channel. My name is Garrett, I'm one of the pharmacists at Chambers Apothecary, and we're going to touch base on the second video about immune health and your immune system. So just kind of as a refresher from last time, this isn't a quiz, but just to remind you, we're going to be talking about the wellness pyramid. So last time we talked about lifestyle. This time we're going to talk about supplements, kind of the vital five. We'll keep touching base on that as we go, and then medical care. So again, this is something you're probably going to be seeing a lot of, but helps us to kind of get all this in line as far as how we look at a complex situation. We say, hey, what can we do to help? Start with lifestyle modifications, move to supplements, and then move to medical care. So love this, love the concept, and we'll jump right into level number 2, which is supplements. So a bit of a kind of no-brainer, but there is no one supplement that's going to fix your immune system. So sorry if you're looking for the magic bullet. If there was, we'd be selling it. Everyone would be having it. So it just doesn't kind of work that way. However, as you can see beside me, there are some things that we can do to help our immune system, make sure that it's working well, and then assist it in certain ways that make sense, kind of given how the immune system works. So that's what we're going to kind of go over. First thing you won't notice beside me is vitamin C. So the big mega doses of vitamin C sometimes aren't really as effective as we might have thought or initially thought. Your body only absorbs somewhere around 100 milligrams of vitamin C at a time. So taking a big dose, the majority of it just gets kicked out. So it's not really that beneficial just from how it works. However, vitamin C is important to your immune system working, which is why they've been studying it in relation to your immune system, because it is a crucial part to make sure everything's working. So usually your diet, you're gonna get plenty of vitamin C, or you can supplement with just regular multivitamin. So we have a couple of those, obviously our brand, One Daily Men's, Women's Multivitamin. There is some vitamin C in there. Usually that's enough to take care of any boost you would want from it. If you do want to do a vitamin C supplement, get the smallest dose. No reason to go into the big mega doses. Smallest dose of vitamin C would be fine. Next, after the multivitamins, probiotics is the kind of the next basic thing to make sure you have on board if you want to help your immune system. So for that, we have a number of different options. This is a 35 billion probiotic, just kind of a basic 101 primer on probiotics. Your body has good bacteria in your gut. That good bacteria helps to kick out bad bacteria and other things that might be coming in, kind of going off the last lesson, that invasive pathogens, whether it's, bacteria, viruses, fungi, crazy stuff, it kicks all of that out. So that good bacteria is important to have an innate immune response and make sure that's not getting absorbed. So that's crucial, and it's something that a lot of people overlook. So definitely getting a probiotic on board will help with that immune response. Next is zinc. So I know there's been a lot of talk about zinc orally, taking zinc by mouth for preventing things like COVID. That hasn't also kind of really panned out as much as we expected, but just by the way it works, the zinc lozenges make sense from a cough and cold perspective. If you're coating the back of your throat with these lozenges and these large amounts of zinc, that will help your body kind of kick out the rest of the viruses or bacteria that are trying to get in. So a zinc lozenge makes sense. We have a dissolving tablet and an actual kind of cough drop. That makes sense just from the way that it works and the way that would help to assist your immune system in that specific instance. Next, we have echinacea. That one, there's been a lot of studies trying to figure out what dose works well, how it works, if it works better. We do know it's linked somehow into your immune system, but the dosing is a little difficult to figure out what that looks like. And I'd say kind of as we're going, it makes sense after you've tried the other ones that we're talking about. So again, some options might be beneficial. Again, with most supplements, it's difficult to find the data behind it. Last, we have elderberry. So we have 2 different options here. That's another one that's kind of been in the news recently. Just kind of the basics of it. It's made out of a berry and turned into a syrup that you drink. So just based off of that, there's going to be a high vitamin A, vitamin C content, which again might boost your immune system or might allow your immune system to work properly, but we don't kind of know how that all plays out. There has been studies to show that it prevents how viruses can replicate in your body. So kind of again how most viruses and bacteria work. They get into your body, they get into your cells, they use your cells to make more of themselves, and then continue to rapidly grow. They're like a house guest that won't go away. So if you can prevent those viruses from replicating and growing, that might prevent the illness. So that's kind of the potential with the elderberry. Again, we just don't know kind of what that all plays out as. There's also concern with it increasing your cytokine response, so the inflammatory response of your immune system. So it's worth considering, if that's an option you want to go with. So those are kind of the basics of the supplements and how that can assist your immune system. Again, as we talked about, your immune system is kind of pretty awesome the majority of the time. So nothing's going to really knock it out of the park. These are all just going to be ways to potentially tweak or add a specific part, like the zinc, lozenges that are on the back of your throat. That's where the majority of the viruses are coming in. So that's what we've got for the supplements. And then on to medical care. As far as immune system health goes, there's not too much in the medical field. So obviously we have prescriptions that are usually immunosuppressants, like if your immune system is going crazy and causing that inflammatory response, we would cut back on your immune system because it's working in overdrive, working too well. But as far as actual immune health and immune support goes, we're really looking at vaccines. Back to our lesson from last time, we have the innate immune system, which just says, anything that's in your body, kick it out. And then we have the adaptive immune system, which is specifically triggered to recognize something as bad, attack it, grab onto it, kick it out. So that's how we have all the T cells and C cells and IgG, IgA, all those immune globulins, all that stuff. It's recognizing the bad thing and then kicking it out. But the issue is your body has to see that bad thing the first time to build that response to it. So that's where if we have high-risk patients, whether they're infants or elderly, and they can't fight that infection on their own, then they're not going to be able to build that immune response for the second time. And that's where vaccines fit in. So based on that, I have kind of a list of things that as a pharmacist, we're always thinking, what vaccines are you eligible for? And this is kind of how we think as far as what makes sense for the vaccines, and just kind of to give you some more information on them. So influenza vaccine, yearly vaccine, helps to prevent the influenza that circulates every year. That is hopefully coming out soon, just based on kind of how everything's shaping up for this fall. I'd say get your flu shot early this year for sure. As soon as we get it, I'd say be in there getting it. I don't want people coming in October for a vaccine when everybody else around them is sick, November, etc. So once we get that, I'd say it's definitely important to make sure you're getting that early in the season this year. Next one to talk about is Tdap, which I actually have here. It has a couple of things in it. It's tetanus and then a couple other vaccines as well. What's kind of cool about this is that tetanus is something that we know about. Step on a rusty nail, you get tetanus, no good. But the things that are also in this is the pertussis, which is what causes whooping cough. That's really common in younger kids, especially really, really young kids, like less than 6 months old. So along with being recommended as an every 10-year booster for the tetanus prevention, the Tdap's recommended for anybody who's going to be around young kids. So spoiler alert, we're going to talk more about young kids in the future. But it's definitely important to get if you're going to be around any kind of infants, newborns, if you're the grandparent, parent, someone who's watching the babies. That's definitely important because they don't have an immune system that's working yet. We need to do everything we can to protect them from the outside. And the cool thing about that too, just the way that it works, is that some vaccines, they don't even use the actual virus themselves. This is a response to the toxin that is released in some of these different bacteria. So, it's amazing how they are actually able to determine what causes the illness and then how our bodies can build a response to that without actually getting a full-blown illness. So that's just a cool science thing. Anyway, next we have pneumonia. So that's recommended, sometimes if you have additional conditions or if you're 65 and over, they recommend that for everybody, just to get one dose. That guideline might be kind of changing at some point, but it's definitely something to think about kind of as you go along. Shingles is another one. If you haven't heard, there's a relatively new dose on that, a 2-dose series that's also recommended as you kind of get older. If you've had chickenpox, that goes into your system, sits there for a couple decades, and then starts coming out as you get older. So again, kind of a weird way how your body kind of isn't able to deal with some of these things. But again, if we can build an immune response to the shingles without you having to get the shingles to get that immune response, that's what we're going for. So that's, again, with all these vaccines, that's what we're shooting for. And then also, just kind of as an addition on there, we do have a number of travel vaccines in stock. So should we all ever travel again, there's again some things that you don't want to expose yourself to, and take the risk of not overcoming on your own. So that's where vaccines play into it, as far as giving you the ability to have that adaptive immune response without being exposed to it on your own. So with that, that's everything I have on vaccines. That's the top level of the wellness pyramid again. And that is kind of the last piece of this video. So as is the case, there should be a link somewhere down here. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. I love offering these videos to you guys. It's great to continue to provide a little more information on kind of what we think through and how we think through things as a pharmacist. So thanks so much, guys. Remember, at Chambers, we are more than a pharmacy. Have a great day.